Is monopoly bad? Is it undesirable as a market structure? There are arguments both for and against monopolies. It's not a simple answer. Perhaps most obvious are the arguments against monopoly. They reduce consumer choice. They can charge very high prices. They can make excessive profit and perhaps produce low quality goods because they're not facing competition. There's a diagram that can show that monopoly creates a deadweight loss for society. The diagram is this. Let's imagine that there are constant returns to scale in cost. So our average cost and marginal cost are horizontal. And let's imagine that there is a downward sloping ARD curve and a twice as steep, of course, MR curve. Let's imagine first of all that this industry is perfectly competitive. If it's perfectly competitive, output will be here. That's because this is the point at which AC equals AR. There is no abnormal profit being made. Price P1 will be charged. And this triangle represents consumer surplus. That's the welfare to society. Now, if all the small firms in this perfectly competitive market join together, they merge and become a single monopoly, production will change. Production will now be at the profit maximizing point, which is where MC equals MR, which is here. So now, only Q2 will be produced, and price, which we read off the D curve, will be P2. This will be the abnormal profit earned by the monopolist. It's the difference between cost, AC, cost, and price, times the number of quantities being sold. There is still some consumer surplus, but look, the benefit to society now is merely the consumer surplus plus the profit that the monopolist earns. The monopolist is, after all, part of society. So the entire benefit to society now is this area. And this area has been lost. Remember that all of this was originally the welfare to society, but now it's been reduced to this. Consequently, this area represents a deadweight loss to society. So this is a powerful argument. This is a powerful argument to say that monopolies are not good news. But there are arguments in favour of monopolies, and really there are three arguments in favour of monopolies. Monopolies may be able to achieve economies of scale, driving down the average cost of production, and may, even though they make a profit, be able to offer the good to consumers at a lower price than if many small firms were producing this good. Secondly, there may be dynamic efficiency. Given the profit incentive that the monopolist has, they may have a reason to pursue research and development knowing that it's going to be profitable for them. And after all, if they know that they are in such a powerful position in the market, they can guarantee future customers. So that's another reason why we may get more progress, more dynamic efficiency with a monopoly rather than with many small firms who are not making profit and cannot finance research and development. That maybe a monopoly isn't so bad is that some monopolies behave themselves. They have to. They may be operating in a contestable market where they cannot make abnormal profit. They have to limit price. They have to charge a price which is not the profit maximizing price, but the price which is low enough that it deters new entrants into the market. There may be no barriers to entry. Perhaps the only way the monopoly can remain the single supplier, the dominant supplier in the industry, is to price such that no other firm is interested enough to come into the market. If they tried to profit maximize and charged a high price, perhaps new entrants would flood into the market. So maybe the contestability and the lack of barriers to entry actually force the monopolist to behave itself and not profit maximize. So it's not necessarily true that monopolies are bad, but it can be shown that monopolies in certain cases can be bad. Thank you.